Lovely with Lard here at Sobremesa Farm Kitchen. And today we are going to conquer some of y'all's fears. I have a lot of friends that have said to me, man, Anna, I want to make homemade bread, but it just sounds so daunting. It sounds so scary. But let me tell you, with this recipe that we have today for you, you are going to be amazed at what you can do. So buckle up. Here we go. We are getting ready to make a quick, easy white bread that anybody can do that is so much better for you than anything that you can get at the store. So here are the ingredients that you need to get started for that white bread. So I threw my hair up, I got all my mise en place ready to go. So let's get started making this bread. This is something I do on a weekly basis. So we have sandwich bread, a yummy sandwich bread for my kids for their lunch for school. So we're gonna head on over. On the other side of my stove, I got a beautiful baking area that my husband made for me. And we're gonna go over there, we're gonna get started with this bread, and before you know it, we will be done. So let's get started.
As you can see, I have my big crock bowl here, and I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 packages of yeast. This is instant yeast, and you can do instant yeast or just regular yeast. Instant yeast doesn't necessarily have to be added to water, but that is what I have on hand, so that's what we're going to use. To that, we're going to add our 3 tablespoons of sugar. You can also use honey if you would like. Give this a little bit of a mix. And then to this, we're going to add 2.5 cups warm water, and that warm water needs to be approximately 110 degrees, between 110 and 115 degrees. I'm going to give it a nice stir, get all of that yeast dissolved, getting it activated, and hopefully it starts eating that sugar and coming alive. Make sure you let this sit for at least 5 minutes so it can do its thing. As you can see here, look at the foam kind of on top here. That means my yeast is activated and it's ready to go and alive. So to this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of salt, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons of melted lard. And if you don't have lard, you can do butter. And then we're going to go ahead and slowly add our all-purpose flour into our wet mixture here, giving it a stir. I like using wooden spoons personally, and I like doing this by hand. If you want to use your KitchenAid mixer, you are more than welcome to do that with the dough hook. So we're not gonna add it all at once. There, it's all in there, and we're gonna get it stirred in. Get all those dry ingredients added to the wet. All right, so we are ready to knead our bread. We got all done mixing it in. I'm going to lightly dust with some additional flour on my surface, and I'm going to go ahead and get all of this dough out onto my surface. I'm going to get ready to pull out the big guns to do some kneading. I'm going to save the bowl for a little bit later. We are going to need that again. And what we're going to do with this mixture is we're going to kind of just bring it all together, fold it in, and then turn. Fold it in, turn. Fold it in, turn. Fold it twice. Go ahead and use your palm, the base of the palm, to push that in. And you just keep going. And we need to do this for a minimum of 5 minutes to activate the gluten. And if it becomes really sticky, then you need to go ahead and add a little bit more of flour to the surface. You just need to kind of feel it out, and if it gets just like this, if it gets too sticky, it's going to stick all over the all over your counter, whatever surface you're working with. And just keep going until you get to a smooth consistency. All right, so we're finishing up here. My dough is becoming nice and elasticy and smooth, you can see. And we're going to come over here to this big bowl over here. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, maybe about a tablespoon's worth, maybe 2 tablespoons worth. And then we're going to coat all sides of the dough, cover it with Saran wrap or a tea towel, and we're going to let it sit for at least 1 hour or until the dough is double. All right, I have my 2 bread pans here. I'm going to spray them really quick with some Pam to make sure that my dough does not stick. I'm going to set them off to the side, and it's been an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my dough, and my favorite part is punch it down, and I'll see it deflate like that. And we're going to go ahead and bring it out onto our surface here. I am going to lightly dust the surface so the dough does not stick any, just a light dusting. And we're going to put the dough out on there, and we're going to divide it into 2 since we have 2 loaf pans. So with my dough cutter here, I'm just going to go ahead and cut into 2 pieces, and now we're going to form it into 2 loaves, and I'm going to make it into a rectangular shape, and then I'm going to envelope fold my dough in towards each other, towards the middle, kind of smash it down, bring the other one in, smash it down a little bit, and then we're going to turn it, and then here we're going to roll the dough, roll it nice and tight, roll, and then once we get up to that point, we're going to kind of smooth it out, and we're going to tuck the sides, pinch off the ends, and do it to the other side, kind of pull the dough a little bit and pinch it. And then I just kind of like to roll it a little bit. I'm going to pinch the underneath just a little bit so that way the dough stays and doesn't come undone, stays in a nice loaf. I'm going to put it here in our pan, and let's go ahead and get the other one done as well. Once we get done with this, we are going to put it in its pan, and we're going to cover it again with either Saran wrap or a tea towel, and we're going to let it sit for at least 40 minutes, let it double in size, and we'll preheat the oven to 425 degrees.
All right, so our loaves have been proofing for 40 minutes, covered. And like I said earlier, we have our oven already preheated to 425 degrees. So let me go ahead and show you what it looks like right now. And we're gonna go ahead, and as soon as we open up that oven and close the door, we're going to turn the oven down to 375 degrees. And that is actually the temperature we will be cooking it at. But we preheated it to 425, and then we will turn it down to 375. So let's go ahead, we're going to put it in, and then we're going to bake it for 30 minutes, and then it's going to be a beautiful golden goodness that's going to be coming out of that oven. So let's go ahead and put the bread back here. Right in the center rack of your oven. Shut that, and we'll turn that down to 375. And when that's done in 30 minutes, we will have the most amazing sandwich bread that you've ever had. Okay, so our bread is almost done. I really wish you guys could smell this, because if you have not experienced the sensation of fresh baked bread filling up your house, it's amazing. To me, it probably, if somebody would ask me what my favorite smell is, I probably would have to say, hands down, the smell of homemade bread. It's amazing. And nothing screams fall to me more than the smell of homemade bread. And I guess for me, it brings back childhood memories as well. So in our house, I try to make this bread on a weekly basis, and this is the bread that we use for the kids' lunches. We make sandwiches out of it. We use it for toast in the morning. You could do whatever you want with it. If it was up to my oldest son, Mickey, he would eat an entire loaf by himself in one sitting with some fresh, yummy butter on it. And he loves whipped lard too. If you haven't seen my whipped lard video, it's time. Let's go ahead. I'm going to stop my timer. If you haven't seen that video of my fresh whipped lard, I suggest you go out there at Lovely with Lard and find the link for whipped lard because it's amazing on fresh bread. All right, so let's come back here to the oven. We're going to pull out our loaves. Ooh, man, if you could just smell this. There's loaf number 1. And let's get in here loaf number 2. All right, close that up. Now, what we're going to do is we want to keep our pot holders close by. So you're going to take a knife, a sharp knife, and you're just going to go around the edge. Even though we sprayed it, we just want to make sure that it doesn't stick anywhere. Careful not to burn yourself. That guy's loose. Let's come to this one over here. This pan has been well loved. I've had this thing for years. Okay, so what we do, super quick, simple. Now my hands can tolerate a lot of heat. So if your hands can't tolerate a lot of heat, take a clean tea towel to kind of help you to flip it out, flip it around. There is loaf number 1. Let's get this loaf number 2. Loaf number 2. Now, one thing that my Grandma Cleo always did with her fresh bread is she always brushed it, either the tops of it with lard or she would brush the tops of it with butter. So whatever you have on hand, we're just going to go ahead and brush this. And let's get this other one. Oh, y'all, this just smells so good. And with some good butter on it, it's amazing. I mean, why wouldn't you want to eat this versus a loaf that you can't even pronounce half the stuff in the ingredients? Think about this. This had very, very, very few ingredients in it. So let's go ahead. We're going to cut this guy open so you can see the inside of it. Oh, it's the best part. Oh my gosh, can you see the steam coming in, out or coming out of it? Oh, look how beautiful that is. Beautiful, beautiful bread. It's light, it's airy, and it makes amazing sandwiches. So, from our kitchen to your kitchen, may God bless you and have an amazing time making this bread.